Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Amy, and yes, I spent over $10,000 on a midlife crisis. Stay tuned to see what I did. Oh my gosh, you guys. Okay, so some of you may be new just because of the thumbnail I used or whatever. But for those of you that have been around, you can probably guess what I spent my $10,000 on. Okay, so this is the first video I've filmed since we've gotten back from vacation in Tennessee. So if I say anything in this video that I already said, just forgive me, but it's been over a week since I filmed a video and I can't necessarily remember everything I said before. But we decided at the end of our trip to get serious about junk for goats. And that's my vintage ephemera resale shop, I guess you could call it. So we decided to get serious. And so I had been buying things on vacation from antique stores there locally in Tennessee, and I've shown you some of that stuff. But then on the way home, we decided we were going to hit as many flea markets, antique stores, etc. that we could find. And you guys, we're just buying paper. So to spend over $10,000 on paper is redonkulous. And that's why I'm deciding it must be a midlife crisis I'm having, because what person in their right mind would go do that? So we had driven separately from my oldest daughter on this vacation, for one, so that we would have space to bring things back from shopping. Well, as we were leaving Tennessee, we ate lunch with her and the boyfriend, and then they kind of went on their way, and then we started doing all of our stops. So we hit, I think, maybe just one flea market and then a few antique stores. Before, antique stores typically close around 5 or 6, so we hit as many as we could on the way back. And you guys, what should have been a 8-hour trip, is it 8 hours from Gatlinburg to St. Louis? Maybe 8 hours. Well, it was late by the time we passed Nashville, because all the places we stopped were between Gatlinburg and Nashville, because that's what we hit time-wise or whatever. And we were not close enough to St. Louis, and so we ended up, I found a super cheap motel in Paducah, Kentucky, that we spent the night. And then the next day, so we ended up adding a day to our vacation, but that hotel stay was business related. So then the next day, as we were coming home, we hit as many places as we could. And you guys, I got my best deal on that leg of the trip. I don't have that in this video, but anyway. So yeah, so we decided to go crazy. Some people would take out a small business loan from the bank to do this. I ended up doing a credit card that I have 0% interest for 18 months. So that's how long I've got to make good on this adventure, if you want to call it that. So there's going to be a series of videos where I'm just showing you the things that I sourced for my business, or hauled, so however you want to call it. And then there will be some of the ASMR flip through kind of videos. So I got a new gadget, although I don't see it in front of me, to make it easier to film those flip through videos. So I've filmed some already, but as you know, or if you might remember from a previous video, I'm having trouble getting it onto my computer so I can get it loaded, because it does have to be the music added and all that stuff. So we've got Peanut has just joined the show. So yeah, so this video, we're just gonna start looking at what on earth I did for this midlife crisis. Who in their right mind would do this? And you know, what's my goal? Well, to be the greatest ephemera seller on earth. No, that's ridiculous. And it would take me years to even come close to some of the people that I watch on Instagram and all that stuff. So no, this is really to kind of create a part-time income, because work, there's no secure things in life, right? Well, there's some, but you never know with a job what's going to happen, and I'm feeling a little bit insecure with my job at the moment, and so I'm looking for just an extra source of income. Although unfortunately that creates an extra source of debt up front. So I don't know how long it's going to be before I can break even and am actually making profit to where this will hopefully before the 18 months is over, right? But let's shake my hands a lot, because this is kind of a nerve-wracking adventure that I'm taking the family on. And obviously with a credit card, even if there's no interest, there are still monthly payments to make on that. Luckily, I think this next month is the last month I have on my van payment before it's paid off. So then, even though I need to then be saving that money for a new vehicle or repairs on, you know, now that I'm out of warranty, the reality is probably some of that will go to make these monthly payments until things pick up, right? So it's gonna be, I like the accounting part. I'm an accountant, so I like that part of the business side, but obviously I'm not very good at sales, and there is a sales component, obviously. How many times can I say that? But there's a sales component that I'm gonna have to grow in, and Instagram is a great resource for a great learning space for that. So is YouTube and TikTok. But just the way people do commercials for their products and stuff is something I'll use to learn and grow. And then I also am still growing my digital sales line, and part of this $10,000 went to purchase a software to help me create those digitals. It's like instead I have been paying like a monthly fee to do that, and this was a one-time unlimited permanent forever access for a bigger fee, but I can now cancel the monthly fee. So just things like that I'm doing. So I hope you'll go with me on this journey. And obviously I had to pivot when all of the stuff with Temu happened to me. I haven't even been in the app for a while because that relationship soured, and I will still probably buy stuff from Temu in the future, but obviously not. I mean, I was buying stuff at least once a week, and stuff. So I had to pivot, and some people were able to pivot but still stay with Temu, and there was no value in it for me anymore because Temu didn't value the relationship they had with me either. So I guess you could say we mutually parted ways, and now this overconsumption bug I've got will be redirected into business opportunities. So, okay, enough about that. Those of you that were probably interested in what I was going to say are probably already left because they're like, oh, this girl talks too much. But yes, I do talk. That's what this is too. For those of you that are new, I'm an introvert, and this is kind of a form of therapy for me because I've become friendly with a lot of the viewers on this channel, and you know, through the comment structure that YouTube videos provide. And it's a weird place to be for an introvert, but if you think about it, it makes sense because I'm not having to sit and talk to people face to face, which like freaks me out. So anyway, let's get started. What do I have in this video? Well, I just grabbed some stuff. Jason brought a box in here. That's another problem with spending all this money on this stuff, is where do I put it? The house was already at max capacity, so where am I going to put all this stuff until I can start getting it sold? So yeah, so I guess I'll be dealing with that too. I have a storage unit, but I don't know that it's practical to put all this stuff in storage and then have to constantly be going out there if things sell. So it probably makes more sense to put other things not related to the business in storage to make room for the things for the business. But that, of course, will happen over time, I guess. So what kind of stuff have I bought? Well, first I ordered a pair of pinking shears from, well, not first, but Amazon. And I have got one of those sets of scissors that you could get from Michael's, where it's got like 12 different pairs of scissors that cut different things. And there is this this design in that, but I'm not sure how well it cuts fabric, and I wanted something that would cut fabric. And so because I want to make kind of fabric squares that can be used as pockets as a junk journal supply, and cutting it with pinking shears helps it not to fray. So I'm gonna kind of test this against the other ones to see if I really do need this pair. I don't know, when I was deciding I wanted to get pinking shears, for some reason I was expecting just a completely metal set. I knew what I was getting here, but I was thinking that pinking shears for fabric were more like fully metal, and these just kind of look cheap to me. So I don't know if this is just the new way to do pinking shears, but let's get these out of here so we can take a look. I didn't think to bring any fabric to this show so we could test it. But I've got a bunch of fabric from Temu, so it's not all going to be vintage things in my Etsy shop. I have gotten lots of craft supplies from, oh man, these are kind of heavy. So I've got fabric that I could easily make pocket squares out of. But these were like the best rated on Amazon, so I'm assuming these will work better than the ones from Michael's, but we will see. And most of the stuff I won't have prices on because they're from antique stores. I did go to several half-price books because I love that store, and so and there's certain books I look for when I go in there, so I will have some of that, but most of the stuff won't have prices. All right, now this contraption, I hauled the container quite a while ago. I found it in an antique store. It wasn't an antique, but that's just happens to be where I found it. But I did find one of the places in Tennessee had a good deal on vintage buttons. So I bought several packs of vintage buttons, and then I'm using this to store them. So I'm sorting them kind of by color. And some people have dangles on their journals that they use vintage beads. Well, you guys, I can't afford vintage beads, and I'm still kicking myself from having thrown away all of my vintage beads when we had our flood. I don't know why I didn't I don't know why. I should have invested the time to wash them, but I didn't. I threw them away, and now I had gotten all of those when nobody was really doing this kind of thing and I got them to make jewelry, which I did for a while. But now you can buy like a vase full of vintage jewelry for like $60, you guys, $60. Now out of $10,000, that's really probably not a bad price, but you can't tell exactly what you're getting in those. And I've looked at several, and they just don't seem like they would necessarily be the kind that would be easy to separate. So I thought maybe buttons would be an easier thing to make the dangles out of. And so that's kind of where I'm going, and why I'm sorting them by color, so that I can make dangles that match the cover of the journals that I'm going to make. And then I also am using it to store stamps, which I'm separating by color. A lot of people on Etsy sell stamps by color, not just an assortment, because people might be looking for a certain color while they're doing, you know, to work on certain projects. So that's what this is now being used for, and it's sitting on top of my calyx shelf that I got. All right, so yeah, so I got a bunch of buttons, and you guys, buttons are expensive too, but in this particular antique shop, they had a really good deal on buttons. I don't remember what it was, but like, for example, a lot of people in antique stores will sell mason jars full of buttons for like 30 bucks. And so I was able to find something that was significantly cheaper than that. Or at least I felt like it was cheaper, so I jumped on it. All right, then here I've got a small haul from Half Price Books. I always pick up the Beatrix Potter books when I go in there, and I always pick up the nature guides. Now this one was different. I think this one kind of is similar to another book series I've got, but I'm always looking for botanicals and birds. That's like my two favorite things, but I'm trying to collect the whole series of these nature guides. I stupidly, well, not stupidly, I had a good majority of the books in that series, and I tore them up almost immediately, and I decided that I'd like to have a set of them for my personal collection, so that's kind of what I'm working on now. But if I get then a second one, then I'm cutting it up. But ones like this, I'll probably cut up right away, because it's not really part of a series I'm wanting to collect. But I did find several books this time on seashells, which these are just great in kits and in journals. So, and for fussy cutting. So if you're doing a beach theme, it's great for that. Oh, and another Peter Rabbit. I've gotten several of this particular one recently, like I think maybe 3 or 4 of these, but this is probably my favorite flower book, because it's like front and back. You get the information for the specific flower on the same page, different colors, so I love those. And then in one, so I also love this particular book series, the Time Life Encyclopedia of Gardening. It's a 30-volume set. So as I've been finding individual ones, I've been picking them up because, and I did a video on this, which still hasn't aired because it's stuck where I filmed it. But I did a video, not a series. Did I say a series? Well, I did a video where I took one of these books, broke it down, and went all the way through the process of getting it ready to list on Etsy. So I've got to figure out how to get that video out there. But I love these books because in the front of them, I don't care so much about, because they're actual photos, and I prefer illustrations when possible. But so then in the back, they get to the illustrations, and so you've got all these great pictures, and a lot of times you can cut them across and it doesn't damage either picture. But obviously you can see some of these it would. So I have to be a little bit more creative. But every book in this series has this section in the back with these great images, and it's got, like, this was shade, so it's got all the different kinds of gardens you could have. So whether it's fruits and vegetables or flowers, perennials, wildflowers, all that stuff. Yeah, so when I had picked up a couple of these at one of the half price books I was at, and then I happened to look up and they had the whole series of 30 books for $50, and I jumped on it. So because as a per price per book, that was a pretty good deal. So yeah, so now I've got the whole series, and then as I get additional ones, I can cut them up because I want to keep that as a permanent part of my collection too. And the same with these Peter Rabbit books. Once I get one, then I will always save like the oldest one, and then I can break down, because these would, for one, they would be good as journal covers, for one, that I could get out of this. But people really like the pictures, right? She was a great artist, and so people like getting plates of these in their journals. So that's why I kind of jump on these when I see them. And this particular one had a bunch. Now, yeah, see, the Peter Rabbit one was more expensive. The other one's not so much, but, and you know what? Made me think of Hey Everybody there for a second. Maybe it would have been cheaper to just find a whole set on eBay or something, but that's not as much fun. So more in that nature guide series. And then this is the other series, one of the other series that I'm collecting for my personal collection, but I really love these pages. Anytime you can have pictures on one side and print on the other is perfect. Or like these, where it's a full page on each side. Although this one's a little bit different, isn't it? Since there are so many butterflies in the ecosystem. But yeah, anytime you can find them like that to where you don't have to make a choice of which picture you want, is good. And then of course birds. All right, and then this seemed like a really good find, wildflowers, and it's got different colored sections. Not really sure why. I haven't spent a whole lot of time, but look, it's got all these, I guess it's by the color of the flower, but yeah, this will probably become a ASMR flip through. But yeah, I love that so much, and it seemed like a pretty good price. And then some books that you do pay more for because they're not really very old. I always look for the sticker books that I can find at Barnes & Noble. I look for them at half-price books just in case I can get them cheaper there. But yeah, I love these. Granted, the words are on the opposite side, so when you break it down, you don't get the right description or whatever. But I don't know, why do I love flowers? I don't know. I was watching Instagram this morning, and I don't know where this particular library was. I don't know if it was the Library of Congress or someplace in England, but they had the 4-volume set of John Audubon's books, and these were like, they called them elephant something, because they were like half a person size, and so huge. It takes 2 people to kind of open and carry these books. And it was like 260 euros to buy them back in the 1700s. Maybe it was the 1800s. I don't know when Audubon was, but and now they're worth a lot, but they were so beautiful. I don't know, there's something about the way you can draw birds and flowers that it's just beautiful to me. I have the Butterfly Hunter's Handbook, which I really like. I've got a listing for that in my shop, but this one I had never seen before, and it is shells. So I'll probably do something similar with this that I did with the butterfly one. And I bought so many decks of cards while I was on vacation. So the decks of cards, I sell them as swap cards, and because there's a lot of collectors out there that just want one of like every single card that's existed. And so that's kind of my loss leader, if you would call it that, you know, to get people in the door to my shop, because I sell it for $1, 2 cards for $1. And so I've been working to get them prepped. So let me just pick one. Now these were some cards from Vienna, but what I've done is for every, I sell them in sets of 2. You get 2 cards for $1, and usually I'm buying like bridge sets that come with 2 different decks of cards. And so I list 10, a quantity of 10 on my Etsy shop and a quantity of 10 on my Whatnot shop. So I've been going through kind of getting those ready to list. I still have to take the pictures and actually list them. But then I'm also going to be doing, for people that don't want to sit there and add things individually, I'm also going to be having 20-piece sets, 50-piece sets, and 100-piece sets. So I'm just going through getting all of that ready. So I've got about 5 or 6 of these trays that I got at a Goodwill, full and ready to just take pictures. But yeah, I bought probably over 50 decks or sets of cards during this adventure. So yeah, so I'm kind of a sucker for cards too. And then I got this. So this, I wanted it just for this. These are bridge tally cards, which are great to add to journals. But this person was selling it. You had to get the books with it too. So I don't know, the books, whenever you have books that either aren't worth anything or you've taken everything out of them that you want for special kits, you can put the rest of the pages just in true junk journal kits, because people will use them in collage, because maybe they're just looking for the different colors of book print that you can get out there to make collage. So they won't go to waste, but I think this person probably didn't think they were really worth much since they put them all together with that. And they did that twice. So yes, now I've got these books that I don't know what I'm gonna do with. And okay, well, this is just a deck of cards for an advertising for a company in Missouri. So I guess that's why I got them, because it was Missouri. And then I got this because these are great. I've gotten several of these over my time doing this, and they're just great. They've got great, from all their cartoons and stuff. And these pages would be great in a junk journal kit, so that, whoever gets them can cut out whatever they want. Because there's obviously images on the front and the back that would be, I wouldn't want to make the choice of which ones were more popular or whatever. So sometimes I buy books specifically just to go in kits to give some variety to people that are buying the kits. All right, then I've got a big box. So some more cards that I haven't started to break down yet. This one is great because you can cut out just this individual section and you can make it a pocket. You know, if you glue around the bottom and the two sides, you can make it a pocket. Or you can put some cardstock on the back to make it a journaling card or a tag or, you know, whatever. So it's got lots of things like that that you can do that with. Or you could just put a whole sheet of it in a kit. And then I got, oh yes, so this was somebody else's version of a junk journal kit. So I got this. Let's see what they put in it, what they thought. And I can tell from this that some of the things are not vintage, and the tag is gone, so I don't know how they labeled it. I think just junk journal kit, but we'll see what somebody else thought of. And why do I buy these if I want to sell ones? Well, I'm market research. I want to know what other people think would be good in a kit so that if I happen to have those resources, I can do the same thing. All right, so we got some buttons, not old buttons. I can tell some of this stuff is, like I said, is not old. Some paper flowers. A little, is it a balloon? Yes, a balloon. Probably a 12-inch piece. Oh, this, okay, well, I guess it is kind of brown. It's not as brown in real life as it's showing on the screen. 12-inch piece of ribbon. Oh, you guys, I need to hurry up and finish this one because I placed an order with another Etsy seller, and I haven't unboxed it yet because I want to unbox it with you guys. I need to do that on my next video. So some burlap twine, I don't know what you call that. Oh, I love these little cards. See, this is the kind of stuff I would love to find when I'm sourcing products. These are from 1979. I have found two different recipe. I found a Betty Crocker recipe card one that I've shown you guys and a Weight Watchers one. But where can I find, well, probably on eBay. But I want to find them in the wild because these are great. Plus they're birds, which I love, but they're great. You could either just leave them as is, or you could put some antique paper on the back or vintage paper on the back to make it a writing space and just stick it in to, I love this. And then we've got some scrapbook scraps. Okay, now I love these too because you can do so many things with these, but you guys, I don't know where this person got these in particular. Well, this is Behr, B-E-H-R, and this one's Olympic. So whenever I go to Walmart, I go to the paint section and I grab 10 paint chips. I limit myself to 10 because obviously I'm not taking them because I want paint. I'm taking them for craft purposes, so I only get 10. But they've stopped having these ones that are multicolored. All of the ones they have now are single color. Where can I go? A hardware store, I guess, right? So maybe that's what I need to do is go into I have a Home Depot. Maybe a Home Depot would be a good place. But I can't be buying anything in there. So going in there just to get 10 cards seems kind of silly. But I love this kind of thing. And then we've got an old book page with an image. But see here, torn. So whenever you're done, whenever your scraps from your own projects can be used in things like this. This is taped on a recipe. This feels like, okay, it is. It is a bag. I love that. Hello Kitty. I wonder if they got this at Daiso. We were at Daiso yesterday and I got a couple things, so I could definitely see this having come. But these are great in journals. You know, if it were smaller, because I'm guessing my journals are going to be basically the size of Reader's Digest books. So I might have to, like, if I were going to put it in like this, I'd cut off part of the top, maybe use my pinking shears or whatever. Or if you're doing a sewn in one, you can fold it in half in your signature, and then you can like cut off this end, and then you could have a slip pocket on both sides in your signature, which would be really cute. Oh, another bag. Oh, this is also Sanrio, but dinosaurs. I don't know that I'll ever use this, so we'll see what happens with that. Another piece of paper. This looks like something you could have gotten from Temu. A vintage postcard. Another recipe that goes over to the side. Oh, some tickets. Always like working with tickets. If you look up tickets, oh, these were from Office Max. If you look up tickets on Amazon, they're kind of expensive. It's like 11 or 12 bucks for a roll of tickets. At when I was in Metropolis, Illinois, the home of Superman, they have a huge Superman display downtown. But I was in a antique store down there and I found a roll of tickets for $1, so I got those. But they're just plain white, which is kind of boring. Recipe card. Okay, I think these look like, yeah, they're envelopes, but they're perforated. So maybe I get 4 envelopes out of this, but I wonder if, okay, it is glued down the center too, so when you do separate it, you will have, there were 2 of those, so I would have 4 separate envelopes. Comics. More book page. This looks like from a Mad Libs book. A couple of those. A piece of pattern tissue paper. A piece of the directions. See, that's a good idea. Now, the Etsy order that I need to show you, she wraps all of her items in the pattern tissue paper, which I think is a great idea, especially if you have a lot of it at your disposal. Oh, here's some fabric. Should I cut this with my scissors? Well, let's just cut along an edge. Because see, it's kind of fraying on the edges. I don't know how easy this will be to do on camera. Let me take my glasses off so I can see what I'm doing. Can you see what I'm doing? I don't know. Oh, that was pretty easy. Oh, I'm not gonna cut anymore because I'll be, so, okay. That did cut really well. And why is it that doing this makes it less likely to fray? I don't understand that, but whoever figured that out was a genius. All right. So I guess I'm happy with those scissors, but I need to try the ones from Michael's. Hi, let me take a brief moment out of our video to let you know that today's video is sponsored by Junk for Goats. Junk for Goats is my business where I sell and resell vintage, antique, and some modern ephemera for all of your junk journaling or crafting needs. I have shops on Etsy, Whatnot, and I list my digital items on my coffee shop. All of the links for those are below in the description, so please check that out. It's also important to note that 10% of all the proceeds from my sales are used to purchase goats from Compassion International. Those goats are provided to families across the world to help them meet their own families' needs in terms of their diet, but they can also take and sell the milk and the cheese that they produce from their goats to their friends and family nearby, helping to provide them with a income source that is valuable in the areas in which they live. So if you would like to craft with a difference, please check out the description below. And as always, thank you, and please enjoy the rest of the video. Thanks. Because if they also work, then I might as well send back the ones from Amazon. So some French vocabulary, some more fabric, is this dictionary? Yeah, it looks like French dictionary. Street guide. Oh, I love these. This one's got a lot of good color. Is this anywhere? Oh, it is. This is somewhere in Illinois. Because I can see Cahokia Mounds on here. Oh, and Collinsville. Another map page. I have a book, I think, pretty much, very much like that, just with a different area. Oh, how to draw horses. So a few pages from that. So not the actual song, the music page, which I would like. Okay, then there's a couple pages of stationery. And then we've got 2003 calendar page. I love using old calendars. Oh, and this is a month. Oh, February. Aw. And another piece of cardstock. Another cover from a music book. The cover from a cross-stitching book. I like these too, because you could cut these out and make cards, journaling cards. Oh, this is cute. So, I don't know. I think that was 12 bucks. So was it worth 12 bucks? It gives me some ideas of what I can sell things for and what kind of things to include. Then I bought this. This is gonna be my, I was gonna order something like this off of Temu, but it wouldn't have been this big. But this has 24 slots in it, almost enough slots for the alphabet. But I'm gonna use this to put my cut magazine letters in. So I'll have to double up some of the letters. Obviously X, Y, and Z can probably all go in a spot together, and then maybe I'll have one spot for numbers and maybe a spot for punctuation. So there'll be maybe Q can, you know, but I'll be able to put labels like right up here for whatever goes in that spot. But it was, I'm sure, a fish tackle box. But I liked it. They had a few, and I ended up picking up this one because, for one, it was the cleanest out of the 3, and it was a pretty purple. kind of wine color. All right, I guess we're kind of book heavy on this one. So this one was expensive, you guys. This one was 20 bucks. So some of these things I will not make money on. So I have to hope that as part of the overall that I get enough things that are super cheap that help pay for these. Ooh, treasure. Okay. 14,501 in goods stolen from Sears. Somebody was using this as a bookmark. Were they the ones that stole the stuff from Sears? That's kind of funny. But yeah, these are vintage. This was a book from, even though they're photographs, it's vintage enough that I was okay. Okay, 1952. And I thought this would make a good book cover or journal cover. So that's why I got that too. And another, what's with all the flowers and plants? So another flower. And this one had great, like pencil drawing kind of illustrations. You can't be too selective. All right, this was the other junk journal kit from the same person. This one I believe was $8. And of course is smaller. It doesn't have any of the big pages. So let's see what we've got here. My bed's gonna be a mess after this. All right, so this looks like a, you know how you can get these wooden pieces at the Dollar Tree now? I don't know that that's where, I don't know that I've ever seen this one there, but you can get those wooden die cuts there. Aw. What direction are these? Tulips? Maybe part of a tulip thing. Part of stickers somebody put on an envelope. A index card with a tab. That's nice. Partial sheet of stickers. This is the problem with this hobby business, is you end up not wanting to throw anything away because it can all be used by somebody. Save the landfills. Another one of these. Yeah, I gotta grid paper. So a lot of the same kinds of stuff in this one, just not the big book pages, I guess. Put some of these somewhere else so they don't fall. All right, we have a card, a plain card. More of those paper flowers. And when you're tearing it out of the book, it doesn't matter if you accidentally rip it weird, because somebody can use that. Okay, this looks like a Dollar Tree doily. It feels like there's more than one here, because those things are kind of hard to separate sometimes. It really does feel like there's two here, but I'm not getting it to separate. But these are great to tea dye or coffee dye if you're wanting a more vintage look. But I did on this trip find some actual vintage paper doilies. Yeah, there were a couple pieces here. So I'm excited to do stuff with those. And what would you use ribbon that small for? Well, like a tag, like you can make, you know, staple it to the top of a thing to pull it out of your envelope or whatever. Some more tickets. I do appreciate that she really didn't have, like, maybe there was 2 of something from the same source. Unlike that one that I showed you guys a little while back where she had like 8 pages from the same book and that counted as 8 of her 30 pages. These didn't say how many pages were in them, so I going through here, I'm not counting. So I don't know how many, but there's a pretty good, seems like a pretty good selection of things in here. So she used some. I love that, right? Instead of just saying, oh, I don't want these anymore, let's put them in a kit. Ha, these look like Temu. Ooh, yay, another bag. On Ariel. And you don't even have to like make it pretty. You just put it in there. So that was it for that. Oh, no, wait. Oh, yeah. Oh, because I forgot to put this back in the book it was in. Well, that's all right. But it was, yeah, from Sears. So I wish there doesn't appear to be a date on here anywhere. So who knows when that happened. All right. Okay. Yep. So you got some more flowers, seashells. Well, I'm sorry. This appears to be pretty book heavy, which should provide me with a lot of content, right? Because I can then do book flip throughs. Well, this book, why did I get this book? This book's kind of boring. I think this book has like 19, I did count, 19 color images like this. And the majority of them have what looks like handwritten. So it's kind of like an Edith Holden kind of vibe to it. And I'm just saying that because it's got like the handwritten with the drawing. So there's like 19 of these full color pages in this book. Birds. And sometimes I just pick them up when they're cheap. But they had some cute pictures too. Oh, and this was, I think, the one that I showed you guys earlier that I bought by itself. Yeah, because of all these cool pictures in the back. I really, really, really like the fruits and vegetables one. That one might be my favorite, unless I said a different one earlier was my favorite because, you know, the brain. But I've only ever seen that one in the full set. Oh, so these I found in a antique store. It's like a cookbook, I guess. It's American Cookery, formerly the Boston Cooking School magazine, of culinary science and domestic economics. Now, I don't know if this top one's from 1917, so these are antiques. And I don't know if, is this what the Culinary Institute of today, is that what it used to be? The Boston Cooking School? But look at that. I love this. It's beautiful. And then in the back, it's just full of advertisements. So, and then of course it's got the culinary science component of it. But these would make great book pages because of the color of them. And look, we've got some little cartoons down here. But it's got great advertisements. And I didn't realize it when I took this up, but these ended up being 30% off, and they had a couple other packs of these. So I wish I would have maybe gotten some more. But you guys, I love vintage advertisements. And I know you can get digitals of them, but I prefer the real thing. So that's mainly what I'll be, I think. And I didn't know what was in these when I bought them because it was sealed in the plastic. And it's the kind of plastic that doesn't, it's like messy once it comes off. So I wasn't really sure, which is another reason why I only took one of them up there. But I've got January of 1917, March 1917, January 1916, December 1916, March 1916, June and July 1916, and November 1916. Now they all have the exact same cover, which is, you know, okay, but they have different backs. And then after I found these, I ended up finding 3 of it. This says formerly the Boston. I ended up finding 3 of the Boston ones. So they were from, I think, 1904, 1905 kind of time frame. So I ended up buying those at a different place, and they were sold separately, but this was all sold as a bunch. So anytime I can find old magazines that would have great, yeah, see what I mean? It's like messy, so I couldn't take that apart in the store as a preview. But yeah, anytime I can find, because I've shown you guys plenty of old magazines, but I was tearing up one the other day, and let me get these to show you. It had these old coupons in it, which I thought was fantastic. Now, what I've discovered is I don't know if these were Women's Day magazines or McCall's, but I had some from the 50s and some from the 60s, and it wasn't until the 60s that they started kind of doing this, where you have the tear outs of things. So if you happen to like buying old magazines and, you know, for stuff like that, keep that in mind. All right, then I found somebody that was selling a bunch of these Martha Stewart punches, and it looks like this one you can just literally set it on top of the paper and just push down. So I got this one. This one's more of your typical put the paper in here and punch. But that, okay, everything's falling over. Hang on. It's all this stuff from that kit. Little one. Oh, no, stop. That's what happens when you film on a bed that's not like flat. And then this one. Now I don't know what the difference is between these two. So let's get one of those scrappy pieces of paper. Let's do this one. Okay, so this is this one. One thing I will say about Martha Stewart's punches, I don't like that you can't, I'm used to being able to like look at the bottom and line it up. You can't do that with these. So if you're trying to stamp someplace specific, you can't. I guess I'm gonna just push it all the way back to the back, so I'm gonna be wasting some paper here. Holy cow. Is that really how hard you have to push that? Did that work? Maybe these don't work, and that's why they were, was it supposed to have completely cut it out? Probably. I don't know, maybe it's not. Maybe it's just supposed to create, because I don't, like, I think I can now push them up, but it doesn't look like it was designed to cut it all the way through. That's weird, right? But yeah, it's not got, like, there's not cut spaces here all around these edges. So I guess you would then cut around it to put it wherever. Okay, well, that's different. Let's see how this one works. Go to the other end. Oh, this one you can see. Well, wait. Why can't you see on this one? There's something gross back here. Oh, because then you use this. Then you use this with this. Oh, crud. Well, let's see if I can line this up right. Take off my glasses. I'm probably going to ruin this, but maybe that's how it works. Okay, well, shoot. Push this back down. It's like I gotta figure out which way. I'm really regretting having I can't tell. I think maybe it doesn't go together, but it sure looks like it should. Yeah, that's the same pattern. So it seems like I should be able to, do I need to go this way? I guess I need to try, well, oh my goodness. Let's do another one back here, putting it in straight. All right, we've punched it. All right. Now, according to this, it should be able to go in the same way. We're just gonna do it. It may not be right, but we're just gonna do it. Yeah, I don't think that doesn't line up right, you guys. Even though I'm going in the same way as the, let's turn it around this way. This is high quality entertainment here. Okay, it's catching. I think this is the right direction, but it's catching. But I don't think I could do it the other direction, you know, like doing the outline part first, because it would punch it out and then I wouldn't be able to stick it back in here. Maybe this is why these ended up in the, how much longer is she gonna keep trying to do this on camera where everybody is getting bored to tears? Okay. I guess I will have to do this. I'm like now pushing it back into the paper because it's catching. Well, heck, if I had to do this every time, why would anybody use this? Except that I think it'll be really cool once it's done. Okay, I've sort of, I think, pushed it back in. I don't know, they just, you guys, they just don't, they don't line up the same. They don't line up the same. Well, I'm just gonna punch it because we've been sitting here for so long. Yeah, that one's gonna take because it's not lined up at all with the original. So yeah, that one's gonna take some. I may not be smart enough to use that one. Then I got some vintage Whitman dominoes. So heavy cardstock with these cute images on here. They're not, I don't understand why they're not double-sided, but I guess dominoes aren't double-sided. So why would these be? But just a bunch of cute, I don't know if they're all here or not. They're very much like the Bible dominoes that I've shown you guys before. But those will make great tags or bookmarks. All right, we're almost done, you guys. Oh, we're already an hour, so I should just stop this. So I got these, it said they were vintage tags. Are they? I don't know. I mean, maybe. Aw, little bird. So yeah, so there's just, oh, there's several of these little, okay, well, I don't know how I would know that these are, there's several of these bird ones. Although this artwork does look very much like the 50s and 60s. So yeah, so there's just loads of, aw, cute kitty. Oh my. So I'm glad that there were several bird ones. Are these stickers? Yeah, these are stickers. So I don't know if these are vintage or not, but it said they were. All right, let's make that the end of this video because we did so many books, you guys, and I'm sure that was not exactly enticing, but there will be more of these midlife crisis videos to come. And you guys, I've temporarily misplaced my nostalgic TV trivia game, so I don't have that again on this video, but my intention is that these videos will have that once I find those. But probably the next video I'm going to film right after this won't have that either. But anyway, thank you so much for following me on this journey. I've really been struggling since the whole Temu suspension thing, and what am I going to do? Because I want to still have a channel. I enjoy doing that, and even though I get roasted and that's pretty horrible, I still want to have this kind of fun in my life. And now we've just added some big dollars to it, I guess. So now I've really got to kind of step up my game and get serious, which I want to do, because it would be nice to have an income source that's not reliant on my actual job. And, you know, things are getting more expensive. I've got another kid I've got a kid that's going off to college next month, and then I've got one that's technically old enough to drive, and one that needs braces. So, and some of you that watched the roast are like, well, you should have just spent that money on that. Well, yes, but I don't know, you guys. You know the saying, you have to spend money to make money, and I guess I want to see if I can do it. So it's a challenge, and don't worry, the kid will still get braces. The other kid will still get to drive once she decides she wants to get a license. But yeah, sometimes you just need something for yourself, and hopefully it works out well. So anyway, thank you for watching, and be sure to tune back into our midlife crisis series going forward, and hopefully I'll get my act together and get those videos, the flip through videos, restarted. So thank you, and wherever you are, whenever you are, I hope you're having a great day, and until we meet again, take care of yourself. Bye.